Hello again, fellow Gears. What's up? It's Matacom bringing you another Gears 5 speedrun tutorial. This one is big in the game's version of Asylum West Wing Spawn. We go into this run with the class setup of Del, JD, Kate, Jack, and either the Gears cog or any other DPS class that you want to bring or boost. There are 2 required stationary spots, everyone else are free floaters. While this finishes loading, we need to give a shout out to the following people: Dr. Schwazi, PC Punisher, Joella, J Money, Valdrama, Slaughter00, Morris, Killer P727, Volley Force, Flirty Pink, Sniper Legend Mike, and Carney Rapids. Thank y'all very, very much. Okay, and this is the main spawn, pretty much where they're all going to spawn. It's a very large area through here, pretty much everywhere that I'm shooting. Here, there'll some spawn over here, there, as well as in the gallery room over here. You'll get some spawn, and then occasionally you'll get some enemies that'll spawn in this corner as well. Now, your first required stationary spot is going to be this person up here. Whatever DPS class you want to put here is fine, or cog gear. They'll be shooting into the gallery room. You will need a spawn blocking fortification here. We usually just put a locker right there, and that'll block that weak overflow spawn. Your other required stationary spot is going to be over here by the train tracks. This is where we stick JD. He gets a good view of the spawn to use his GL Lancer. And he also will need over here by the tracks a spawn blocking fortification. We usually just put a weapons locker right about there to block that weak overflow. And I'll have a video of the lockers later in this tutorial where they go. And then this is where Jack, we have healed JD throughout the wave constantly until there's 5 or less left, and then Jack will go forge as usual. Now, as far as your other 2 classes go, they are free floaters, as mentioned. A good spot for them to be is here in the middle. Gives them easy access to shoot either side into the spawn, as so. Now, when we first set this up, we get a forge and we power level it to 4, and we stick the forge here in this corner. It's a good spot, doesn't take much damage there. And then we'll get lockers and then add barriers here. One there, another barrier, and then you'll go another barrier here. And here as well. Once you have the barriers up, then we will start adding sentries here, and then there, and then up top here. Now, as far as the bosses go, if you pull a Kestrel, he'll usually spawn above the Versus spawn right up here. As far as all the other bosses go, they have random boss points here in the Versus spawn. They can all spawn in here as follows. But keep an eye out in the gallery room, because you can get the Matriarch and mini bosses that will spawn in here sometimes as well. So you'll just definitely want to keep a heads up on that. I'll go ahead now and show you the Fabricator Location. And just a heads up, while you're building everything up on this run, upgrading the forge, getting your barriers and your sentries out, it is a bit of a dogfight the first 9 or 10 waves, because you won't have a lot of defense built, so heads up there. Now, this Fabricator is not a picky Fabricator at all. It's pretty generous. We just have always lined it up against the concrete here, in between those 2 pillars. About so there. Between that pillar and that pillar. And with that, that is your basic setup tutorial, and we got advanced tutorial footage coming right up for you. Here is a clip on how Jack, with his healing touch, is constantly healing JD while the wave is active, but also being in cover yourself as well. A great spot is kind of this 90-degree edge corner here by this pillar, but definitely watch out for that train while you're here, because that'll get you if you're not careful. And then once there's 5 or less left during the wave, Jack resumes forging in between waves as usual. Here is the spawn blocking locker that is on the right side, the top side by the gallery. Got it. Here is the spawn blocking locker location on the left side by JD by the train tracks. Now you're going to notice this power tap location is where the spawn blocking locker would be, but where we put JD. If you pull a power tap there, as long as it stays capped, it will block the weak overflow spawn that is there, and you don't need a weapons locker or fortification to block the spawn because the power tap does that for you. Here is an engineering setup overview of what I do when I engineer this. We have a sentry and shock sentry there for the gallery, barrier and decoy there, and 3 MG sentries on this left side with the shock sentry, another barrier and decoy, and it's mirrored over here as far as we have 3 MG sentries on the right, and then you have your 1 shock sentry, and you'll notice a couple barriers and decoys. You don't have to use the decoys or the shock sentries in a sense. I think it makes it a little easier though if you use them. But as I always will say, you know, put your own spin on it, make it yours, and definitely always make it better. Here's a quick engineering tip. If you leave enough space behind your sentries, if you ever fall back on repairing as an engineer, you can sit here and cover and repair your sentries while the wave is active. Here is a clip on what Dr. Schwazi does when he engineers this. He goes for more of an advanced setup. He pushes his sentries and decoys into the spawn a little closer, which does make the run go a little faster, but it is definitely sweatier on the engineer. You can do either or, the basic setup or advanced, of course. You don't have to do the advanced setup if you don't want to, but definitely, you know, kind of make it yours, because it's always great to see new ideas and new and different setups, that's for sure. Please, folks, don't try this at home, but I got me a coal train to catch. Oops, sorry. But with that, that is the Asylum West Wing Spawn speedrun tutorial. It is a great run, definitely fun. Enjoyed, everybody. Thank you.